There is a figure that walks beside you every day. He does not wear chains on his wrists, yet he moves as if shackled. He is not locked inside a cell, yet every step he takes is confined, cautious, and obedient. You see him when you look in the mirror, though you rarely stop to recognize him for who he really is. He is the prisoner. Not a prisoner of walls or guards, but of fear, hesitation, and submission. This prisoner is the weak version of you, the version that bends at every command, that folds under the weight of expectation, that obeys even the voices that do not deserve to be heard. He is the shadow of your potential, the ghost of what you could be, lingering behind your eyes and whispering the same tired refrain: don't risk, don't resist, don't rise. But now, you must learn to see him, to stare at him unblinking until you can no longer deny his presence. For only when you encounter the prisoner can you begin the journey of killing him. The prisoner's life is small. He survives, but he never lives. He blends in, speaks softly, and avoids the edges where the world is sharp. His heart beats, but not with fire, only with the dull rhythm of routine. When opportunity knocks, he pretends not to hear. When conflict approaches, he lowers his head. When challenge arises, he bows out before the first blow is struck. He calls this peace, but it is not peace. It is captivity. His chains are invisible, but they cut deeper than steel. Every compromise he makes for comfort tightens the lock. Every apology he offers for being himself forges another link. Every time he accepts less than he deserves, the bars of his cage grow higher. This is the life of the obedient self, the self that would rather be liked than respected, safe than free, alive than truly living. And this is the life you have known too well. Look back at your past, and you will see his fingerprints everywhere. You will remember the moments you kept silent when your voice burned to speak. You will remember the chances you abandoned because fear whispered louder than courage. You will remember the nights you swallowed your anger, your vision, your truth, just to keep the peace, just to avoid the storm. That was him. That was the prisoner. That was the obedient shadow steering the wheel of your life. You thought you were making choices, but it was never you. It was him. The prisoner has a face, though it is not your face. His eyes avoid contact. His shoulders slump. His voice trembles when he speaks, if he speaks at all. He wears your skin, but he does not carry your essence. He is an imposter, and yet he has lived within you for years, unchallenged, unchecked, unopposed. The truth is simple, though it is brutal. As long as the prisoner lives, the master cannot be born. As long as he breathes, you remain shackled to weakness. To encounter him is to recognize this divide within yourself. You were not one being, you were two. The prisoner and the unshakable, the obedient and the untouchable. One must fall so the other may rise. But before the execution, there must be recognition. You cannot kill what you refuse to see. You cannot destroy what you continue to excuse. And so, in this chapter, you must meet him fully. Not as a vague sense of dissatisfaction, not as a fleeting feeling of regret, but as a man who lives inside you, taking your strength, your courage, your future, and reducing it to dust. Stand before him, study him, learn his patterns, hear his excuses. What if they don't approve? What if I fail? It's safer if I just stay quiet. This is the language of chains. This is the anthem of a slave. And you must let the sound of it burn in your ears until you can no longer tolerate its existence. The prisoner thrives on avoidance. He feeds on your denial. He grows stronger every time you look away and pretend that your obedience is wisdom, that your fear is caution, that your surrender is humility. But these are lies. He is not wise, he is weak. He is not cautious, he is cowardly. He is not humble, he is broken. And the longer you allow him to live unchecked, the deeper his roots sink into the soil of your soul. And so, the encounter is not a casual glance, it is an act of war. To see him is to declare him your enemy. To recognize his grip is to begin breaking it. Every time you name him, you weaken him. Every time you drag him from the shadows into the light, you rob him of power. For shadows cannot survive the sun. Ask yourself, who has been living my life all these years? Was it me, the unshakable, unreadable, untouchable? Or was it him, the weak, obedient prisoner? And if the answer is him, then ask, how much longer will I allow him to steal my breath, my time, my fire? The prisoner is not just a character in your story. He is your story, until you choose otherwise. He has written the chapters of hesitation, of silence, of surrender. But now, at this moment, you have turned the page. You are no longer reading his words. You are writing your own. This chapter is the confrontation. You stand before the prisoner in his cell of fear. You see his chains. You hear his excuses. And for the first time, you know the truth. He does not belong here. He never did. And though his voice still echoes in your mind, it no longer commands you. For today, you have seen him, and seeing him is the beginning of his end. The prisoner cannot survive recognition. He cannot survive the gaze of the one who refuses to bow. He is fragile, weaker than you imagined. All his power lies in illusion, in the belief that he is you. But he is not. He is only the shell, the husk, the mask that must be torn away. And so the encounter with the prisoner is not the end of your story. It is the threshold, the door, the moment you step from blindness into sight, from obedience into defiance, from captivity into freedom. This is the moment you realize that the weak version of you is nothing more than a shadow, and shadows vanish when the light arrives. But the light is not gentle. It burns, it scorches, it consumes. And if you were to burn away the prisoner, you must be willing to endure the fire. You must be willing to kill what is comfortable, to destroy what is familiar, to bury the obedient ghost inside you and never mourn his death.
Destruction does not come suddenly. It is not one single act, one clean strike, one swift execution. The destruction of the weak, obedient version of yourself is a ritual, a long, deliberate, merciless ritual. A process where each movement, each decision, each choice is another crack in his prison, another blade driven into the heart of the captive within you. Killing the prisoner, the submissive version of yourself, requires more than anger. It requires precision. It requires ritual. For he has lived with you for years, perhaps decades. He knows your rhythms. He knows your fears. He whispers with the voice of reason, cloaking weakness as safety, dressing cowardice as wisdom. And so to kill him, you must strip away every disguise, break every mask, and sever every tether that binds him to you. The ritual begins with exposure. You must drag him from the shadows and force him into the light. Weakness thrives in secrecy. It multiplies in silence. Every time you tell yourself, "This is just who I am," you are hiding him. Every time you excuse your surrender as patience or humility, you are feeding him. The first act of the ritual is to stop feeding the lie. Call him what he is. Speak his name aloud. Fear, hesitation, obedience, submission. When you say these words, do not soften them, do not decorate them, do not dilute their poison. Call them what they are: chains, shackles, wounds, scars. This is the unveiling. This is the moment when illusion begins to die. But destruction is not just naming, it is replacing. You cannot simply kill the prisoner and leave the void empty. The human spirit does not tolerate emptiness. If you remove weakness but do not replace it, weakness will crawl back into the hollow space. And so the ritual of destruction is always a ritual of substitution. For every "I can't," you must force an "I will try." For every "I'm afraid," you must counter with "I will face it." For every "not today," you must answer with "now." This is not motivation, this is war. Every word is a weapon, every phrase is a strike, and with each counterattack, the prisoner within you grows weaker. Understand this: the prisoner will not go quietly. He will resist, he will cling to you, claw at you, beg you to let him stay. His voice will grow desperate, his logic more convincing, his excuses sharper than ever before. He will remind you of your failures, your rejections, your wounds. He will say, "You are not built for this. You are not strong enough. You are not ready." This is the death rattle of the obedient self. Do not mistake it for truth. It is the last defense of a crumbling kingdom. The ritual requires endurance. You cannot kill him in a single blow. You must kill him again and again, every day, every moment he resurfaces. This is why it is a ritual, not an act. Repetition is the blade. Consistency is the fire. Resolute is the hammer. With these tools, you dismantle him piece by piece until nothing of him remains. The ritual of destruction has stages. The first stage is awareness, to see him, to know him, to name him. The second stage is opposition, to contradict him, to challenge him, to refuse him. The third stage is replacement, to speak new words, to build new habits, to carve new patterns into your being. And the final stage is transcendence, to live as if he never existed, to breathe without his chains, to move without his permission. But this final stage cannot be rushed. You will stumble, you will fall. You will hear his voice and, at times, obey it. Do not mistake this for failure. Failure only comes if you stop the ritual. So long as you continue, so long as you return to the fire, the destruction continues. And one day, his voice will not return at all. His silence will be the proof of your freedom. Imagine the ritual as fire. Each act of courage, each word of defiance, each step into fear is a spark. At first, the spark seems small, fragile, easy to extinguish. But keep striking them, and soon the fire grows. It spreads, it consumes, it roars, and in its flames the obedient self is reduced to ash. His body cannot endure the inferno of your persistence. Imagine the ritual as a blade. Each decision to act when you want to hide is a strike. Each refusal to obey fear is a cut. Each time you say yes to challenge and no to comfort, the blade falls again. And with each cut, the prisoner bleeds. He bleeds until he is too weak to move, too frail to whisper, too broken to survive. Imagine the ritual as a hammer. Each habit of strength forged through repetition is a swing. Each promise kept to yourself is a strike. Each discipline honored is another blow against his skull, and the hammer falls over and over until the obedient version of you shatters like glass beneath the force of your persistence. The ritual is not gentle. It is merciless. It is cruel. And it must be. For mercy to the prisoner is betrayal to your true self. Compassion for weakness is poison to strength. You cannot coddle him. You cannot negotiate with him. You cannot let him live in the corner of your mind, waiting for the day you are tired enough, weak enough, broken enough to let him rule again. No, he must be eradicated, burned, shattered, buried without a grave. The ritual of destruction demands sacrifice. You must sacrifice comfort. You must sacrifice approval. You must sacrifice the illusion of safety. All of these are the soil where the prisoner grows. Rip them from your life and he starves. Rip them from your heart and he suffocates. Rip them from your identity and he ceases to exist. But what rises in his place? Do not fear the answer. What rises is you, the unshakable, unreadable, untouchable. The ritual of destruction is also the ritual of creation. It is the death of the obedient ghost and the birth of the indomitable force. You are not simply killing a weaker self, you are forging a stronger one. You are carving yourself out of stone, chiseling away the clay until the figure beneath, the true figure, stands revealed. And this is why the ritual is holy. Yes, it is violent. Yes, it is brutal. Yes, it is merciless, but it is also sacred. It is the ceremony of rebirth, the fire that burns away the false, leaving only the true, the hammer that destroys the mask, revealing the warrior within, the blade that cuts the chains, releasing the sovereign of your soul. This ritual cannot be witnessed by others. They may see the surface, the habits you break, the risks you take, the confidence you grow into. But the true ritual is invisible. It happens in the silence of your mind, in the secrecy of your heart, in the battle between the voice of the prisoner and the roar of the unbreakable self. No one else will ever hear that battle. No one else will ever see that war. It is yours alone. And because it is yours alone, only you can claim the victory. So let the ritual continue. Each day, another blow. Each day, another spark. Each day, another chain broken. Until the prisoner is gone. Until his cell is empty. Until his voice is silent. Until only you remain. The one who cannot be shaken, cannot be read, cannot be touched. This is the ritual of destruction, and it has already begun.
Freedom is not the absence of struggle. Freedom is not an open field without obstacles. Freedom is the presence of strength, the presence of clarity, the presence of unshakable resolve that no chain can restrain. Life without chains does not mean life without weight. It means that the weight you carry is chosen, not forced. It means that the burdens you lift are your own, not those shackled to you by the prisoner you have already destroyed. The obedient self is gone. The weak shadow has been buried. The chains that once cut into your flesh, into your will, into your spirit, they have been shattered. But what does life look like when the shackles are no more? How do you walk when the weight that bent your spine is gone? How do you breathe when the air that once suffocated you is now sharp and clean? This is the exploration of a new existence. This is life without chains. The first taste of freedom is disorienting. For so long you were accustomed to the rattle of metal against your ankles, the constant tug of restraint. Every step you took was measured, shortened, adjusted to the length of your bonds. Now, with nothing pulling you back, every step feels strange. Every stride feels too wide, too open, too uncontained. The prisoner taught you to move small, to think small, to live small. And now, without him, The horizon feels endless. At first, it terrifies you. Freedom always terrifies those who have been captive too long. The silence of chains is unsettling. You almost miss their noise. You almost crave their weight, not because you loved them, but because they were familiar. The prisoner is gone, yet his memory lingers, whispering, "You are not made for this. You are safer with me." But you are not safer with him. You were never safer with him. His safety was a coffin. Life without chains begins with expansion. It begins with reclaiming the space that was once denied to you. Stand taller, speak louder, act bolder, move as if the world is yours to step into, because it is. The boundaries you once obeyed were illusions. They existed only in your mind, constructed by the prisoner and reinforced by your obedience. With him gone, those walls collapse. What stands before you is open terrain. This does not mean life is easy. The world is still harsh, storms still rage, battles still await. But now you walk into them unbound. When rain falls, you do not crouch in fear, you lift your face to the sky. When wind howls, you do not bow, you lean forward and push through. When obstacles rise, you do not detour, you climb. This is the difference between life with chains and life without them. With chains, you shrink before the storm. Without them, you become the storm. To live without chains is to redefine identity. You are no longer the obedient one, the weak one, the captive. You are not the version of yourself that bends, apologizes, and hides. You are the one who stands, who claims, who acts. Every decision you make from this moment forward is no longer negotiated with the prisoner. He has no seat at your table, no voice in your council, no presence in your kingdom. The throne belongs to you and you alone. In this new life, there is no need to justify your strength. You do not have to explain your confidence. You do not have to apologize for your courage. These are not traits borrowed or stolen. They are yours. They were always yours. They were simply chained, muffled, suppressed by the obedient self. Now they live fully, burning bright without permission, without restraint. Life without chains also demands responsibility. Freedom is not license. To live without chains is not to drift aimlessly, doing whatever impulse dictates. No, freedom is discipline, chosen willingly, wielded consciously. The unshakable version of yourself understands that every choice has weight, every action has consequence. Without chains, you are accountable to no one but yourself. And that truth, though liberating, is also heavy. But it is a weight worth bearing, because it is your weight. The chains were never yours, they were imposed. Now the burdens you carry are chosen, and chosen burdens build strength. In this life, relationships change. People will see you differently. Some will admire you, others will fear you, and many will resent you. They preferred the prisoner because he was predictable, compliant, easy to control. They do not know what to do with the unchained. They will test you, try to provoke the old obedience, attempt to drag you back into the cage they were comfortable with. But the doors of that cage no longer exist. You have burned them. Their tests are meaningless. Their chains melt when they touch your skin. You are not obligated to return to captivity for their comfort. You are not required to shrink for their peace. To live without chains is to live unapologetically, even if it unsettles the world around you. Let it unsettle. Let it disturb. Their discomfort is the sound of their own chains rattling, chains they may not yet be ready to face. That is their battle, not yours. Without chains, time feels different. Days no longer drag, burdened by hesitation and regret. Instead, they flow, filled with purpose. Every morning is an invitation to act, to create, to claim. Every night is a testament to victories earned, no matter how small.
Life without chains is not about waiting for the right moment. It is about making every moment right by acting within it. Freedom does not erase fear, but it transforms it. Fear is no longer a command but a compass. It points you toward growth, toward challenge, toward the places where you will expand. The prisoner used fear as a leash. You use fear as a map. This is how the weak version dies and the unshakable self thrives. You do not avoid what terrifies you. You pursue it. You face it. You devour it. Life without chains is also quieter. The noise of excuses, of doubts, of submissive whispers fades. In its place comes silence, powerful, steady, grounding silence. It is the silence of knowing who you are. It is the silence of no longer negotiating with weakness. It is the silence of being whole. From this silence comes clarity. From this clarity comes direction. And from this direction comes unstoppable momentum. Imagine yourself walking through the world now. Your steps are not hurried. Your shoulders are not bent. Your eyes do not dart nervously. You move with gravity, with presence, with authority. Not because you are trying to impress, but because you are unchained. Every motion radiates freedom. Every word carries weight. Every choice declares sovereignty. This is the mark of the untouchable self. He does not ask. He does not beg. He does not apologize. He simply is. And yet, life without chains is not the end. It is the beginning. The destruction of the prisoner was the threshold. The ritual was the passage, but freedom is the foundation. Now you build. Now you rise. Now you live. The unshakable self does not exist for the sake of destruction alone. It exists to create, to lead, to endure, to expand. Life without chains is not simply surviving without restraint. It is thriving without limits. Every day you live this way is another declaration. The prisoner is gone, and he will never return. The weak, obedient self is dead, and he will never breathe again. The chains are shattered, and they will never be forged again. You are untouchable now, not because the world has changed, but because you have. So walk forward, step into storms, face the unknown, create, destroy, rebuild, expand, speak with fire, move with steel, live with unshakable calm. This is life without chains. This is the truth you have claimed. This is the self you were always meant to be. The prisoner is gone. The obedient version is buried. And what remains is you, the sovereign of your own existence, free forever.